Emax rs1306s are just starting to become widely available, and initially I wasn't going to test this motor, but I found a good deal, so I decided to pick one up and just see what it would do. I'm just going to take a very brief look at the results here. I will do a comprehensive look at the motor and compare it with some other offerings kind of in its area at a later time, but I'm in the middle of making some updates to my thrust stand, so that's delaying things a little bit. Now, since I have been making changes to the stand, these results aren't directly comparable, or most of them aren't directly comparable with previous tests that I've done on the 3-inch props and the 1407 motors. I found a more consistent way to calibrate the load cell, so my current test results should be more accurate in the thrust amount than the previous ones, which all were reading quite a bit high. So efficiency and thrust won't be directly comparable, but we can still look at the power draw and the RPM to get a sense of what it's going to be, and then I'll retest the motors and have a consistent base when we go and do the full test in the full comparison in the future. So let's get right to it. I tested it with, of course, the Rotorex 3040 Tri on 3S, just as a nice easy run, again, to be kind of similar to how I tested things previously. 29,900 RPM was our new sustained peak, which is about 600 or 700 RPM higher than the DYS. So we are definitely making more power with this motor. This one tested at 280 grams of thrust, which should be a lot closer to what we're really getting out of it this time. 9.9 amps, which is slightly lower than the DYS motor. 120.6 watts, again slightly lower, and that gives us an efficiency of 2.32 grams per watt. So overall, it's actually really encouraging. We're making slightly more power, maybe 5% more power or so. The efficiency is better, perhaps about 8% more efficient than compared to the DYS 4000 kV motor with the same powertrain. So performance-wise, this actually looks like a pretty decent option. It's holding its own. Don't know if it's worth the extra money, and this doesn't really show what the durability of the motor is going to be, but at least at a first glance, things look pretty good. Just to look at some charts, no real surprises here. Here is the thrust over the time of the test, and you can see we've got just a nice, clean, fairly linear run up. Our absolute peak was 285 there. So no surprises, but things look really good here. And then the RPM over the course of the test, again, the multiple lines are as an artifact of my testing that I'm working on, not representative of what the motor was actually doing. True values right dead center in between, and feels like it's starting to maybe torque out. Like we'll have to see. We'll compare it at 4S in the full review, but I wonder if we might be losing efficiency a lot faster out on the top end compared to some of the other options, but we'll find out. At least in this run, it's still holding strong, and our total peak here was something like 30,000, 30,200 RPM or so. So there we go. Look forward to a more in-depth test in the future.